You ever look up and see smoke rising from your land, mind you, not some communal backyard, and just know in your gut that whatever's waiting for you up that ridge is going to make your blood boil? That's how it started for me, a regular Tuesday that spun into something so outlandish you'd think I was making it up just for laughs. Picture this: a 32-foot luxury RV slides extended parked smack next to my fire pit. Not a hiker in sight, but an inflatable flamingo wearing a tiara perched right by the door, waving at me like some twisted welcome committee. And there reclined like she's Queen of the Rockies, sat Cynthia Delgrove, our HOA president, sipping rosé from a monogrammed goblet, wearing a look that said, "Yeah, I own this." She'd staked a sign right in my dirt driveway: HOA temporary administrative outpost trespassers will be banned. The sign was made out of neon poster board complete with a gold fringe, like this was a parade float and not, someone's actual private land. I just stood there for a second trying to wrap my head around it. 12 acres. I busted my back for supposed to be my little patch of peace after years running medical calls and seeing the worst of city life. And now here's Cynthia acting like she's manifest destiny in designer yoga pants. I asked her, maybe a bit too politely looking back, what on earth she thought she was doing. She didn't even flinch, just said, "Eminent domain, Mr. Kessler. You've been non-compliant with HOA regulations." I wanted to laugh, but she doubled down, handed me an eviction notice that looked like it was printed from the library's free template section. That's when I realized this wasn't a prank, she meant business. Now, the name's Brad Bradley Kessler, 42, former EMT, current chainsaw sculptor, and apparently part-time mountain hermit. I picked Wasp Willow Peak for a reason. No paved roads, no nosy neighbors, and supposedly no HOA interference. Spoiler alert, supposed to is the key phrase. The Mialine Heights HOA, led by Cynthia and her band of clipboard warriors, had other ideas. Technically, their reach ended a mile downhill. But technicalities never stopped Cynthia. This is a woman who keeps laminated bylaws in her purse and fined a neighbor $300 for birdhouses being too rustic. My first offense apparently was refusing to install solar pathway lights along my half-mile gravel driveway. That driveway is so far out even the raccoons get lost. And yet here came Cynthia wagging her finger, sending me pastel pink warning letters every week. I ignored them, which only made things worse. Certified mail started rolling in threatening jurisdictional override and administrative action. Pretty sure she was inventing new rules just for the fun of it. She fined me for woodland clutter, which in plain English is my firewood stack, and claimed my satellite dish was violating something called aesthetic airspace integrity. Never mind, the dish was duct taped to a pine and invisible from the road. But the best was yet to come. One morning I'm brewing coffee and I hear car doors slamming. I look out and there's Cynthia's white SUV in my driveway, and she's brought backup. 3 so-called HOA deputies in matching fleece vests, taking pictures of everything: my outhouse, my tool shed, even my compost pile. They start rattling off nonsense about implied oversight authority. I told them nicely at first, then not so much to scram or I'd call the sheriff. The moment I pulled out my phone, they scattered. Cynthia glared at me and hissed, "The HOA has resources you can't even imagine." Honestly, it would have been funny if she wasn't so dead serious. 3 days later, I had to run to town for supplies, long drive, but sometimes you need real coffee and a taste of civilization. By the time I got back, I could smell smoke before I even saw the RV. For a split second, I thought maybe it was lost hikers, but nope, there she was again, now with tiki torches, a laptop, a printer, and a Wi-Fi antenna stuck on the roof. She'd roped off my fire pit like it was her new kingdom, plopped down folding chairs, and turned my cooler into an HOA supply cache. The gall of it was honestly kind of impressive. So I marched over and told her she needed to pack up and leave. This was my property, no matter what she scribbled on her clipboard. She smiled and handed me a declaration of property reappropriation, supposedly notarized, but the stamp looked like it came from a kid's art set. She'd even changed my gate lock code and slapped an HOA padlock on my bear-proof cooler. That's when I realized I couldn't reason with crazy, I needed backup. First, I called the county assessor, who confirmed what I already knew. The land was all mine, no liens, no easements, and definitely not under HOA thumb. Next, the sheriff's department, they said they'd send someone right up. But the best move, calling my cousin Tony, paralegal by trade, professional grudge holder by nature. Tony once described himself as having a vengeance kink for this sort of thing. He was giddy, pulled up property records, HOA docs, everything faster than I could say. She's out of her mind. While I was making calls, Cynthia was doubling down, rolling in a filing cabinet, printing HOA letterhead, yelling on her phone about mountain emergency powers. I caught it all on video because by this point, if it wasn't documented, no one would believe me. The sheriff's deputy arrived, a no-nonsense woman named Martinez. She took one look at the circus and asked, "Cynthia, ma'am, are mountain emergency powers a real thing, or is that just something you heard on Netflix?" Cynthia's jaw hit the ground. She scrambled to produce a binder full of what turned out to be internet printouts, not legal documents. Deputy Martinez told her to leave, but Cynthia, in true HOA fashion, flat out refused. Said she wasn't going anywhere until the board validated her emergency action protocol. I wish I was making this up. Martinez radioed for backup, and when she mentioned the word arrest, Cynthia made a beeline for her RV, didn't bother retracting the slide-outs, didn't even roll in the awning, just slammed it in reverse down the narrowest mountain track you've ever seen. You can probably guess what happened next. The RV didn't make it around the first turn. She backed right off the side and landed nose first into a ravine wedged against some pine trees like a cork in a bottle. Awning shredded one of the slide-outs, crushed, and Cynthia trapped inside until the fire department could extract her. By the time they got her out, she looked like she'd been through a wood chipper, pine needles stuck in her hair, mascara running, yoga pants ripped. Meanwhile, Tony showed up waving a folder with receipts showing Cynthia had been using HOA funds for mountain operations, the RV rental, and even a tactical property management seminar in Vegas. When Martinez finally arrested her for trespassing, fraud, and unauthorized rural occupation, which turns out is an actual law here, Cynthia was sputtering, insisting the world needed proactive community management. Her mugshot went viral, pine needle and all, and the HOA board called an emergency Zoom meeting that night. They kicked her out, refunded all my fines, and one board member was literally crying with relief as they voted her gone. I uploaded the whole saga, titled it HOA Queen Claims the Mountains Meets Gravity Instead. 6 million views in 3 days. Folks in the comments called her Queen Entitlement and started a meme series, RV Alien 2025. Even better, the criminal case stuck. The judge looked like he was personally offended, gave Cynthia 18 months in county jail, 50 grand in fines, and 5 years probation, can't serve on any HOA board again. When the sentence came down, Cynthia let out a wail that echoed through the courtroom, swore it was all a conspiracy against visionary leadership. As for me, I finally got my mountain back, a formal apology from the HOA, and enough internet clout to last a lifetime. But here's the real kicker. Who do you think was in the right here? Is there such a thing as too much community oversight, or did Cynthia just take it all too far? Let me know in the comments if you've ever faced off with an HOA or had a neighbor like Cynthia. I want to hear your story. And if you think there's such a thing as mountain emergency powers, well, maybe I'll see you up here. Just don't touch my fire pit.